What's up, party people? I'm here to do, once again, a late review of Amazon Prime's Season 3 of The Wheel of Time. And I'm here to say, this will probably shock no one to hear, this was a great season of TV. Well, actually, it was an almost great season of TV. So, that being said, let's dive in. This was an almost great season of TV, and I say that seriously just because of how I rank my system, how I rank my media properties. It is the wheel of time spins and spins and spins and spins, and I love that for us. The development of the show has been troubled from the start. I will admit that. They had to deal with issues from the pandemic. They had to deal with a major cast member leaving fairly early on in the show's run, deal with limited budgets that Amazon gave them per season, limited episode counts. For some reason, and I've said this before and I will continue to say it, I don't know why these seasons are only getting 8 episodes per season. And this one has captured the hearts of many millions of Amazon Prime subscribers. It was the number one show for a couple weeks after the finale aired. And that's something to take note of because the show still hasn't been renewed for season 4, but just given all the Reddit boards I've watched and read, based on all of the reviews and whatnot that I've seen, all the buzz has been highly positive. Since that video was filmed many moons ago, Amazon unfortunately canceled The Wheel of Time after 3 seasons for budgetary, economic, and other reasons, which are still baffling. Unfortunately. Hopefully, regardless of the news, another streaming platform or another network picks it up for continuation. Season 1, I know my recordings and reviews of it fairly early on were stilted positive. Looking back, they're very mixed. There were some great moments, but in my opinion, there were still some things that season desperately needed to improve, such as the pacing. The acting was rough. The character development, the adaptive changes were baffling at points. But also, I give grace to where grace is due because some of those things couldn't have been prevented. Matt not going in the Waygate with the crew to Faldara, that was an issue with the Barney Harris recasting and the pandemic. So that is understandable, but some of the other choices were just confusing. That being said, we get to season 3 after an improved season 2, not a great season 2, but an improved season 2. And we get swinging right out of the gate. I love the battle sequence at the beginning in episode 1. My gripe and my complaint with it, though, was that it didn't really feel earned. I feel like we needed to spend some more time in the White Tower to truly understand why all the Ajahs were at each other's throats. That being said, the special effects and the VFX concerning the One Power were drastically improved, and I really enjoyed that. Not to mention how they so effortlessly weaved in the bubble of evil and then introduced this alliance between Moraine and Lanfear. That was fantastic, and it fit both of their characters so well. Yet in that episode, we did get a new relationship that wasn't in the books, queer relationship between Elaine and Avienda that I was not expecting, but it made sense for the characters. I'm just curious to see where it ends up in terms of the long game for this story. The first 3 episodes were full of political intrigue that you would have expected from The Wheel of Time. The pacing is improved this season as well. I loved that. It was great. I did have some complaints with stopping entire arcs for certain episodes. That's something that modern television does nowadays. They'll stop the season-long arcs and then do an entire flashback episode or an entire different arc for an entire episode and then cut out all the main plot lines for that episode. It's a little strange to me, but that being said, that leads me to what I thought was one of the best episodes of TV I've seen in a very long time, and that was episode 4, The Road to the Spear, which is the most faithful adaptation of the Wheel of Time to date. Yeah, there were some things missing, but one scene just like sticks out in my mind. And this is from chapter, I think, 40 in The Shadow Rising, which is considered to be one of the best, if not the best book in the series. What seemed a tiny chip of white spun away from the Sharome in a jet of black fire. It descended, deceptively slow, insignificant. Then 100 gouts spurted everywhere around the huge white sphere. The Sharome broke apart like an egg and began to drift down, falling in obsidian inferno. Darkness spread across the sky, swallowing the sun in an unnatural night. As if the light of those flames was blackness. People were screaming everywhere. With the first spurt of fire, Charn broke into a run towards the column dawn, but he knew he was too late. He was sworn to serve Aes Sedai, and he was too late. Tears rolled down his face as he ran. That scene will stay with me for a really long time. Rafe Judkins, the moment in episode 4, The Road to the Spear, when you get to the final vision, Charn and Mira Sedai are talking, and it's Charn, who's played by Yosha Stradowski, is talking with Mira Sedai, who will later become Lanfear, is a poignant moment because Lanfear is also in a relationship with Rand's previous incarnation, Lews Therin Telamon, the dragon. And it was really cool to see how that thematically connected with the Wheel of Time's themes of cycles being repeated, patterns being repeated, the world being formed, broken, reformed, formed again, broken, reformed, formed, so on and so forth. That was really cool to symbolically show that and show how different peoples viewed things so differently. That's what this story does so freaking well. And I cannot stress that enough, because every culture, every country, every nation, every language addresses something different, and they all yet address these universal themes of love, death, trauma. All the cultures in our world address these different existential themes. And something the Wheel of Time does so well that Robert Jordan emphasized is that every culture has their own way of dealing with them. And that's what continues to draw me back to this story. I love this series. It's probably, I might even dare to say, it's my favorite above Harry Potter. That's a tough bar to clear for me, but this series is incredible. It just is. And again, while this was the most faithful season to the books that Amazon Prime has done, I did still have some gripes with it, unfortunately. Again, like I said, the episode count needs to increase. We need at least 10 episodes for a Wheel of Time season, maybe 12. If we're going off what we just saw in Andor season 2, we need at least 12 episodes. That gives time for more fleshed out character development. That gives time for more suspense in each plot line. And it allows the audience to really connect with the performances and the characters, and allows for more intricate, nuanced world building. And that's something Robert Jordan was an expert at in his books. That being said, I don't think the show has fully reached that point. I want it to. but it hasn't yet. It hasn't reached Thrones level for me. It hasn't reached House of the Dragon level for me. I have thoughts about The Witcher that one can leave by the wayside. It's fine. It's fine. I also think some of the plot points felt shoehorned in later on in the episodes, and some that just didn't feel as though they had enough time to marinate, if you will. But it doesn't mean they were bad. It just means that they needed more time to be thought through. Such as the Tanchico plotline needed some more time. The Two Rivers plotline needed some more time. Those were gripes for me, unfortunately. And even then, some of the performances were fine, but yet you could still tell how much they had improved from season 1. Rosamund Pike as Moiraine, always incredible. Yosha Stradowski as Rand this season was fantastic. A lot of people had complained he's just wooden. He's not very lifelike. He's not very enthusiastic about what he's doing, but this season he showed the darkness and the madness of Rand touching Saidin really come out, especially in 4 and 6 and 8. You could tell how much he improved as a performer. Madeline Madden as a Egwene, phenomenal. Marcus Rutherford as Perrin Ibarra, drastic improvement. Donal Finn as Matt Coffin, incredible performance. These are all performers who I think should and will have their time in the sun coming on down the road. I will give this season an 8 out of 10. Not quite great, but still very, very good. I hope for Amazon to renew it for 6 more seasons. I know that's not the show plan. The show plan is for 7 to 8 seasons, but I think it needs more time than that and more episodes. So Amazon, if you're listening, please give us those episodes. The story deserves to be told and told in its entirety. So that being said, thanks for tuning in, and you better remember,
driver picks the music. Shotgun shuts.